All right, folks, we're back, and Seton Motley rejoins us from, of course, he's the founder of Less Government. Seton, let me throw one at you. I don't want to throw you a curve, but did you know that there was a guilty verdict yesterday? A protester was found guilty of assaulting a police officer during an altercation during one of the Occupy Wall Street takeovers in New York City. Cecily McMillan, 25, was found guilty of elbowing an officer in the eye while he was trying to arrest her. This case went to trial. She's now being held, awaiting sentencing. And did you know that 56 people have been convicted at trial? There are thousands of arrests. Most of them were adjudicated, charges dismissed, whatever. But there have been 56 people convicted at trial on these kinds of charges relating from what I just said, take back Wall Street, what did I just say? What's the name? Occupy Wall Street. Thank you, T. And there have been 11 acquittals. Now, I haven't heard before yesterday about one of these 56 trials by jury or trial by judge convictions of these people at Occupy Wall Street. Have you?
No, and my question is, what about, for instance, the guys in Cleveland associated with Occupy that were going to blow up a bridge? Remember those guys?
Right. Yep.
Where's
familiar.
the trial, or where's the prosecution of those guys currently stand? And I think I'm still waiting. Aren't we still waiting for the first arrest from a Tea Party rally? It won't the
well,
next.
That's what I was going to say. Seton, I was going to say, the racists, the bigots, the Confederate flag flyers, the rabble-rousers, the violent ones, the Tea Party movement. I've never heard of one arrest of a Tea Party person at a Tea Party event. As a matter of fact, there have been arrests. One I remember in St. Louis when the thugs beat up a black Tea Party member.
Right.
But otherwise, nothing. And these guys,
you'll
56,
like this. Maybe this will tell us why of the discrepancy in coverage. One of the people arrested in St. Louis when the black Tea Party guy was beat up was a reporter for a local newspaper. So he was on the side of the guys beating up the black conservative at the Tea Party rally. I'm also wondering, were there any rape tents? I don't recall any rape tents at the Tea Party rallies. Do you?
No. And I know you were asking that rhetorically, and
Yes.
it's just, it is such a sad commentary. I was shocked. I was shocked that this trial had gone on unbeknownst to me here in New York City. To the credit of where I heard it on one of the news radio stations in the city while I was driving home, to their credit, they actually talked about the verdict. And then I read a story here, and I'll tell you where this story is from, the Chicago Tribune, of all places, that talks about the fact that all these arrests and convictions in a trials have taken place, and we've heard nothing.
Yes, and it's look. I worked at Media Research Center for 2.5 years, and so what little lack of faith I had, or what little faith I had left in the media prior to the MRC, was completely eradicated once I examined them on a full-time basis for 2.5 years. The Jurassic press is terrible. I mean, look, I always joke with members of Congress that their communication staff for the Democrats should get paid a fraction of the communication staff for the Republicans, because Republicans should get hazardous duty pay, and for the most part, Democrats have reporters blankly staring back at them, ready to be stenographers. So yeah, look, this is the Occupy Wall Street rally was obnoxious. I think one of the most famous pictures was a guy defecating on the cop car. Remember that?
I remember that.
I believe that was in New York City as well. I'm not sure about the laws of the municipality, but I'm sure that's against the law, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I worked across the street from that park where it all started at WOR Radio at the time, and it was disgusting. It was frightening. It was abhorrent. And boy, oh boy, what the cops went through and everybody else. Hey, yeah. Seton, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very, very much.
See you in a bit.
All right, take care. Seton Motley, ladies and gentlemen, founder of Less Government here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I bet you didn't know that. I didn't know it. Who knew? Who knew that this woman was on trial for assaulting a cop during an attempted arrest? I didn't know that. Then she's guilty, and then by the way, 56 people have been convicted at trial? 56? You'd think that would be news? If there was one Tea Partier, you would know their name, what they do, they'd be outside their house. All right, folks, just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. What could I tell you? Hey, we'll be back with much more of the Steve Malzberg Show. But first, today's America's Moment. And you know what we're going to do? We are going to take a look at the making of President Lincoln's preliminary Emancipation Proclamation from 1862. Stay tuned.
Abraham Lincoln began the war between the states with a single stated purpose: to preserve the Union. So it surprised everyone when in July of 1862, President Lincoln announced his intentions to issue an Emancipation Proclamation to free the Southern slaves. Lincoln was urged to delay his proclamation until the Union Army could boast a battlefield victory. That opportunity came at the Battle of Antietam, when Union forces drove Lee's army out of Maryland. 5 days later, on September 22, 1862, President Lincoln issued the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation, stating slaves in those areas still in rebellion within 100 days will be freed. This action made slavery the focus of the war and ultimately caused France and England to withdraw their support of the South. The following January, Lincoln issued the actual Emancipation Proclamation, stating that all persons held as slaves within the rebel states are, and henceforth shall be, free. You're watching An American Moment on News.
What if I told you